Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Chris from T3 Handicapping, and I am here with a special video for you. This video is all about the 2025 Kentucky Derby specials. And when I talk about the specials, I'm talking about those unique horizontal wagers that you can only get on Derby Day. Now, if you came here because you wanted to get selections for the Derby or selections for the Oaks, or maybe some handicapping about Thurby, which is going on as we're recording this. If you wanted to get maybe some betting strategy for all of the races on the Oaks and Derby card, you can find articles about all of those things over on bettingnews.com. So head over there, peep the scribbles, all of that stuff. But I really wanted to focus on something that I don't have any articles on the site, which is those special horizontal wagers, and just give you a look at how I would look to attack each of these wagers here. So let's go ahead and dive in. We're going to start with the one-day wagers, so the ones that are just on Saturday, and that's going to start with the 3-year-old pick 3. Now, the 3-year-old pick 3 here is a $3 minimum, so you got to be mindful as you're building your tickets that it's a much larger minimum, and so your money isn't going to spread quite as far. And so I'm going to keep this one pretty tight, and I'm going to try and create separation right off the jump in the Pat Day Mile, which is race 6 on Saturday. I'm going to go with the 5 and the 7 in that race. That's going to be Gate to Wire and Macho Music. Now, these are two horses that I like, but the Pat Day Mile, I think, is a really wide open race. I think the top of the board is logical, but I think these ones aren't out of the question either, and this is where I'm going to create my separation to make sure that the rest of it pays, because the rest of it's pretty formful. So I'm going to try and bet a little to win a lot, and that's why I'm attacking those two horses in particular, even though that doesn't necessarily fully reflect my opinion of the race. Now, moving on to leg 2, which is race 9 on Saturday. That is the American Turf. In that race, I'm going to be using some pretty logical runners here. I'm going to be using the 3, the 7, and the 10. So that would be New Century, Zulu Kingdom, and Iron Man Cal. Zulu Kingdom is my top selection in that race. I feel good about that horse, but I want a little bit of extra coverage. I think the other two are pretty logical. And then I'm going to single into Journalism in the Kentucky Derby. I just think that horse is the goods. No need to spread. If he gets beat, I don't really have a lot of other opinions as to who is the next one other than maybe Luxor Cafe. So I'm going to really try and hammer into Journalism, hope that I'm right there. The best horse doesn't always win, but I'm keeping the ticket tight. It's going to be an $18 wager with that $3 base, and hopefully we're cashing that ticket there. Now, another ticket that we have available on the Saturday horizontal, the special horizontals on Saturday, is the All Dirt Pick 5, which is a 50-cent minimum wager. I've got a $75 ticket here that I think gives me a pretty decent chance and better reflects my opinion of the Pat Day Mile than the last race. So or the last sequence, I should say. So in this one, it starts with the Knicks Go, which is Saturday race 4, and I'm going to use Capuna and Liberal Arts. I'll take that into leg 2, the Pat Day Mile, and now you can see I'm taking those two longer prices, but I'm also mixing in some of the logical ones, the Madaket Roads. You've got the Builts of the world, and then Gaming is the number 6. So you've got sort of a little bit more reflection of the fact I think that race is really wide open. I don't really know what to make of that race. The Churchill Downs is another one I just can't get a good read on, so I'm going to take anybody that I think really kind of has a shot. So that's Banishing, Bookham Dano, Mindframe, Nizos, and Mulligan. Between those 5, I feel like I've got the winner in there somewhere, so that's okay by me. If I get beat by something else, I just wasn't going to cash no matter what. Leg number 4, that's the Derby City Distaff, and in that case, I'm going to go with Skilla, Copian, and Ways and Means. Again, same thing there. I think these 3 are probably the most likely. I did, kind of go back and forth on a couple other ones that I thought could be in the mix. That certainly wouldn't surprise me, but I did want to try and keep the cost a little bit more affordable here since I'm going to be spreading bankroll in a lot of other places as well. And then again, we're just going to come down to Journalism here. Now, I don't think that Journalism is a lock. I think there are other horses that could win the Derby because it's the Derby, but on these ones that get expensive quickly, I want to make sure that I'm locked in to that horse to keep the cost down, because I think if the race does what it's supposed to, that horse is supposed to win. Now, it's the Derby, so weird things are going to happen. But I think I'm supposed to take what's available to me on the paper here. Now, I will say I'm going to deviate a little bit from that strategy as we start to go into the 2-day wagers. So these are horizontal wagers that extend from Friday into Saturday. And we're going to start with the Oaks Derby Double. Now, this is one that you can get on my Oaks and Derby playbook article on Bet Online or on Betting News. So make sure that you go and check that out, as well as all of the vertical and win wagers that I recommend for each of those races as well. So the way I'm going to play the Oaks Derby Daily Double, I'm going to go with my top selection in the Oaks, which is LaCara, and I'm going to use that one and Good Cheer. Now, this is a $1 minimum wager, just like your standard daily double, so I'm going to take those two, and I'm going to use 5 horses in the Derby, knowing that that's only going to cost me $10, and even going favorite, this is going to pay more than $10. So I don't want it to go Good Cheer journalism, but if it does, I'll cash. I should make my money back. It won't be a big deal. But if I can find a way around either one of those, either by getting LaCara home or by getting one of my other options in the Derby, then I may be on my way to a really nice payday here. So with LaCara and Good Cheer in the Derby, I'm going to be using Citizen Bull. I'm going to be using a little bit of Final Gambit, Luxor Cafe, Journalism, and the number 13, which is Tiztastic. I got to be honest with you, 13 is in there largely because if Steve Asmussen is able to break his dry spell, I feel like this is the horse he's going to do it with, and I want to make sure I've got a little bit of money on it, just because I think it would be a great story. I kind of like the horse a little bit, just as a horse. I'm not sure about in the Derby, but put that one down for me as a sentimental play, but I'm willing to do it for just the $10 there. Now, this sequence might be the one I'm most excited out of any of them to play. This is the 2-day pick 3, 50-cent minimum. This one starts in the Oaks, race 11 on Friday. It includes the Old Forester Turf Classic, which is race 11 on Saturday, and then finishes up with the Derby in race 12. The approach that I took here is to not really deviate anything from my Oaks double. If I hit my double, I should be in good position to hit the 2-day pick 3 as well. In the middle leg, I'm just going to use 3 horses here. So that would be the number 1, Integration, the number 7, Running B, and then the number 10, Spirit of St. Louis. Quite a few logicals there. I don't think we're going to be pulling up boxcars unless maybe a Citizen Bull or a Final Gambit is able to win the Derby. But nevertheless, I think if we can get these home, even, missing 2 favorites or catching a big long shot in one of the legs, I think if we do that, I think we're going to be okay here. Only $15 to play this ticket, so again, the risk is going to be worth the reward, even if it does kind of chalk out a little bit. And then our final sequence here that we're going to look at, the 2-day pick 6, it's a $1 minimum wager. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not a big pick 6 player. It's just not my style, so I tend not to do it. I tend not to do it a lot. I may or may not actually get into this pool. More than likely, I'll be looking for a couple buddies at the track to throw in some cash and split. But this one's going to be 2 races on Friday, the La Troyenne and the Kentucky Oaks. 4 races on Saturday, the Churchill Downs, the American Turf, that's a typo there, that should say Saturday, race 9, the Old Forester Turf Classic, which is race 11, and then the Derby in race 12. So the way I would attack this, look, it's got to be Torpedo Anna at the top of the market. I'm just going to bookend with some favorites here. So I'm going Torpedo Anna number 1 in the La Troyenne, and I'm going with Journalism to cap it off, singled in the Derby. Everything else in between there is trying to gain some value. So I'm going to be looking here, again, the Oaks, LaCara, and Good Cheer. The Churchill Downs, I'm using those same horses from before, Banishing, Bookham Dano, Mindframe, Nizos, and Mulligan. In the American Turf, that's where I'll be using the 3, the 7, and the 10. So that would be Zulu Kingdom, Ironman Cal, and New Century. Old Forester, again, that would be Integration, running B and Spirit of St. Louis, and then, like I said, we're going to come home and we're going to kill it there with journalism in the end. $90. Again, this is probably the pool I'm least likely to get into. It just feels like somewhere in this six-race sequence, you're going to get something that isn't supposed to happen. So this ticket construction might be even a little bit thin for trying to survive and advance a wager of this difficulty. But nevertheless, I hope it gives you some ideas if you're planning to play it, so that you can build a winning ticket and cash on one of these really unique wagering opportunities that we only get on big days like Oaks and Derby. Now, that does it for the 2025 Kentucky Derby specials, but it's really important to know that if you just can't get enough Derby content, that there's plenty for you to absorb at Betting News. So you can go to horses.bettingnews.com. You can find a bunch of articles that we have there. We have a sort of a breakdown of every horse in the race, both positive and negative, handicapping angles on each one. We've got a Derby analysis card. We've got an Oaks analysis card, a Derby analysis card, and just dropping today was a Oaks Derby full card betting guide. So it's actually suggested plays for every race on the Oaks and Derby card. You can go ahead and trail the picks there, and hopefully we have a wonderful and profitable Derby week. Cash those tickets.